your organization and then
Yeah.
what you guys do that is relevant to startups and the investment community.
Okay. So I'm Helen Moore, and I work for UK Trade and Investment, based in San Francisco. I'm actually based in the British consulate there. UK Trade Investment's part of British government. We're essentially the UK government's economic development agency. So what that means for startups and companies here is that we have a range of free services that are confidential, that are providing very practical guidance, advice, information, and service around all aspects of expanding into the UK and growing an operation there. So it's a free service. It's really designed to help companies avoid some of the common pitfalls and have a smooth experience, which in British government's terms means that you're more likely to grow job numbers there to the good of the economy. So we work a lot with companies within the Bay Area and the whole of the West Coast on the tech community, the life sciences community, a little bit of clean tech and aerospace and so forth.
With regard to industry sectors, I would think that financial fintech would be pretty interesting.
Yes.
I would think, for some reason, I don't know if it's fashion or culture or other things that sort of the consumer products markets would be interesting, and that startups would think, oh, English speaking, the cultures aren't that different, generally, I guess, compared to other countries, those kinds of things, and so they would think of UK first when they were thinking about international expansion. Is that your experience with regard to industry segment and how startups are thinking about it?
Definitely my perception. I've been here doing pretty much this role off and on for over 10 years now. So those instincts that startups have are absolutely right. The UK is probably the most familiar market and business environment in Europe compared to the US. Yes, there are differences, and that's what we can help them understand. It's also most often the biggest market or the second biggest market within Europe. And if you think about things, if you have service or product for financial services, then it's most certainly the biggest market within Europe, if not one of the biggest in the world. It's also the biggest e-commerce market in the whole of Europe as well. So there are many solid reasons to automatically think the UK first, but I think, aside from some stats on market opportunity, the real reasons boil down to the business environment and the fact that, above all, the employment environment in the UK is the most similar to the US of any European jurisdiction country. And beyond that, then obviously ease of localization, the same language, more or less, there are differences. Yeah. And the fact that there is great talent.
You guys have the cool accents. Yeah.
We have the cool accents, yes, trying not to lose it. But the fact that there's also a really, really good talent base there, whether you're going in for the first time setting up a sales operation or whether you're going in to take advantage of R&D talent, it's there and it's reasonably accessible.
And the value proposition for you through these connections, is it primarily office space, talent, manufacturing partners, customers, investors? Where would you say you're providing the most value to a US-based company who's thinking about a connection to the UK?
It's saving them time and probably money as well on all aspects of that international expansion process. So we can provide a very good heads up on the business environment generally. So the legal environment, the taxation environment, the immigration environment, and so forth. And so, from one point of view, that really informs companies' conversations when they then go forward and talk to law firms and accountancies. They're understanding some of the differences before they go into those conversations. On the immigration side, we can actually process some visas from the US here and make sure that the visas and immigration team in New York know that this application is coming through and who it's for and that we're involved. Then we can shortcut the process of helping companies find office space as well. The UK is a little different to the US in the sense that there's no master listing service, there's no one-stop shop. Unless you work with us, we can shortcut the process of going out to different real estate providers or shared working spaces and so forth. And then, we know the pool of service providers, professional advisors that are very experienced working with US companies heading into the UK and then probably growing their business on into Europe. And I think it's important to work with the right service providers that are not only deeply networked and understand your industry, but understand where your questions are coming from as a US company that doesn't understand everything about Europe yet. So, helping folks understand what the value is of working with those UK-based or European-based service providers and making sure that they get connected to the ones that are most skilled is part of our role as well. But as companies then go on to grow, there's a tremendous amount we can do helping companies understand what the talent landscape is and get access to the right talent, particularly if they're thinking about putting R&D or development on the ground in the UK and taking advantage of quite often a lower cost employment environment.